Welcome back to the IE427 garage, everybody. Today we're working on a couple things. I'm working on the prototype, obviously, but I'm also working on the Type 65 coupe that we just received a couple of weeks ago. The owner stopped by, dropped off some more parts. He dropped off the bonnet, which is sitting out in the yard. I don't know if you can see it out there next to the van. And what I'm trying to do is go through all the parts for this and separate out all the stuff that we're not going to use. So this owner has the Boig cool tubes, and so we're not going to need any of the radiator hoses that came with the kit. We're not going to need that corrugated steel, stainless steel tubing that came with the kit. So I gave him 2 boxes of stuff already, and I'm just going to kind of quickly go through the rest of the boxes for the kit and separate out all those things that we're not going to need. Like, he's got some aftermarket side view mirrors, so we'll take the side view mirror that came with the kit, we'll pack it up over a box, and he can take that back with him. Since he's at least here in the same state, he can stop by from time to time. He's already been here twice in the last 3 weeks, and we can give him all the stuff that we're not going to need, and it'll save me some space here in the shop, and then he can start selling that stuff or giving it away or whatever, throwing it away. That's completely up to him, but I want to get all that stuff that we're not going to use out of here. I've got the original horns that came with the kit, and you guys know that those horns sound like they're from a 1990s Crown Victoria. So we'll find hopefully something that suits the car a little bit better. We like that bad boy horn from Wolo, but there's some other manufacturers that sell the same style horn. I think they all ripped one another off, but regardless, I'm just going through everything on that kit and trying to get everything out of here that we're not going to need. We did the same thing on the 25th anniversary car. We did the same thing on the Texas car. The problem is those owners were in different states, and so we just had to kind of pack that stuff away and wait until the car is picked up or we deliver the car, and then that stuff all goes away. Over here on the prototype, what I'm working on is I got the roll bar in place. Now I've got our button head screw already mounted, and so that's what we're going to use to attach the third leg here. But the 2 sides, you can see I've got some schmutz on there. The 2 sides aren't bolted in yet, so I've still got to run the bolt and drill the hole for the inner mount, the outer mount, and the rear mount. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it, and I don't often show you guys how I do this. It doesn't all need to be bolted in at the same time. And so when I have the wheel off, I'll go ahead and drill and bolt this outside mount, but I'll also go ahead, I'll connect the wiring to the taillight and put the rear splash shield in. And then everything in that wheel well will be done. And then when I'm in here doing this, that'll probably be the time that I do the carpeting on the inside here. You can see I've still got the door sills and the carpeting to do here. When I do that, I'll go ahead and I'll drill and bolt the inner mount. Now the back mount, since I'm already working here in the trunk, I'll probably do that while I'm doing all this stuff. So yesterday I got the strut kit installed, and as I stated in the previous video, I screwed up. This was on me. In the confusion of getting everything moved, I failed to put the forward mounts, that's what these are. We just used them for something else. I forgot to put the forward mounts in, and I forgot to notch this panel right here for our struts to attach to the hinges and go that way. And once the body's on, it's near impossible. So what I did is I dug up a couple of the aluminum mounts that Mike Everson sells. He actually sent me a couple of sets of these, and I think he's going to discontinue the Mark III and before strut kits that he sells. But you know, don't quote me on this. He sent me 4 sets, and I think he said he had 6. He was going to send all of them to me, and I told him to keep a couple of sets just in case, because you know, shit like this happens to me. I didn't do it on purpose, but you know, I forgot to mount these struts. So anyways, I had to source some hardware. I had to source the spacers, which I had to source the machine screws that go through the body into the bracket and kind of sandwich the whole thing together. But you can see the strut kit works just perfectly. It opens and closes. It holds the rear trunk deck lid open, and I managed to use every part that was provided with the factory 5 strut kit. So I used the 28-pound struts, I used the brackets, I used the ball ends, I used the rivets. So I was able to reutilize all that stuff, so that kit didn't go to waste and I didn't have to buy an entire kit from Mike. I just sourced the brackets from him. So those went in, and then yesterday, before I went in for the evening, I went ahead and mounted our tilt switch with some tape just to verify the angle so that when this gets to a certain point, it shuts the lights off, and that was my big deal. So don't just arbitrarily use a two-sided tape and stick it on. You might find that it doesn't quite work the way you intend it to. So once I get all of the stuff done on the Type 65 coupe, sorting all the parts and getting all that stuff stacked neatly over by the car, I'm gonna turn my attention back onto the prototype. I'll probably get this sensor mounted, this tilt switch mounted permanently. I'll dress the wires. I'll dress the wires for the license plate light. I'll drill the hole into the trunk deck lid for the license plate light. We'll probably drill it on this side, so it tucks in real neat. We'll fish the wires up through here, attach the wires to the actual license plate light, and put our cover, which we have powder coated for the opening here. We'll install that as well. Then the trunk should be pretty much done for now. Other than putting the access panel covers on, I'll be done in the trunk. But getting the struts installed makes it much easier to do all this other stuff. And as I told you in the last video, I didn't have my prop rod, and so I didn't want to cut a stick and then put a covering on the end of the stick to not scratch the paint, you know, yada, yada, yada. So once I got my prop rod, this was all much easier to do. I got the struts installed last night, and it's all ready to go. Oh, one other thing that I have to do is I just had Jeff loosely mount the rod here for our latch. I'm going to hole saw a hole on the inside, put the nut on the inside, so that'll secure. And then I have a electrical knockout seal that I'll install for this hole on the inside and the hole over here where our overrider bolt comes through. And so those will be nice and flush, and you won't be able to drop anything in those once those covers go on. So I'll bring you back in a little while when I'm a little farther along with this and a little farther along with all that. All right, buddy, next day I am working on getting all the stuff in the trunk of our prototype Mark IV all taken care of. I've got the wiring all tied together up in here. So I've got the ground and the parking light circuit for the license plate light all soldered, and I've got some heat shrink on it, and so that's all good. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cover this with our cover plate. And then over here I've got our tilt switch all squared away, and then I did a double strap here, kind of a double fakie where it uses the same bolt. Make sure when you do this, if you're going to run your license plate circuit and attach a cushion clip to the hinge, that you leave enough of a loop here so that as it's going down, it's going to maintain that distance, and you're not going to have any trouble with the wire getting bound up and then breaking and then shorting out. So I've got that all done. I'm going to get this taken care of next, and I'll bring you back just as soon as I get that in place. All right, it's turned into a nice fall evening. Got the fan on in the window. Mrs. IE427 told me that I needed to update my screen on my computer, so I did that over the weekend. So both the computers in here now show a shameless plug for IE427. I've already cracked the first beer for the night, but I wanted to get back and show you guys what the trunk looks like. About 90% finished. I've got the cover on in here, so you can see that. That turned out really nice. Always check your light to make sure that it works before you put that cover on, because it'd be a shame if you got it all tied in and you didn't have any power back there. So we've done that. You can see we've got the lights on, everything's working. Our tilt switch works just perfectly. Get my beer out of the way. So when we put the trunk deck lid down, it'll shut off just before it closes. You'll see it go off right there and then back on. So we've got all that squared away. The only thing I have left to do in here are the 2 knockout seals. So I'm going to put a seal over the inside portion in the drop trunk in front of the strike, and then the same thing over here on this side inside the drop trunk for the bolt that went through for the upper quick check mount. And then that's it. I mean, I do have to put on these covers, but I want to wait until I put one more fill up of gasoline in here just to make sure that nothing leaks, and then those covers will go on. I even went ahead and I put the bolt, so I drilled that and put the bolt in for the rear leg of the roll bar. So I think I'm going to wrap this one up here. The next time I have the camera on, I'm probably going to be working on the carpet underneath the door sills. So I'll put the door sills in place. I'll get that carpeting in place. That'll give me an opportunity to pull both the seats out and get the roll bar bolted in on the driver's side. But we'll see how things go, because I might just put the windshield in too. Boy, this body on this one has moved a lot. Just to show you, when we picked this up from Jeff, he set all the door gaps and they were perfect. This one is so tight now, I don't want to close the door because I don't want the paint to rub. So I'm going to have to readjust that door. And what it is, it's a matter of everything kind of settling into place. So, you know, the back kind of settles on the top of the aluminum, and then it just kind of spreads out. And the same thing up here in the front. When we first picked this up, it was just, you know, just above the top of the dash. Now it's resting down on top of the dash where it's supposed to. So these bodies move quite a bit in those first few weeks after you get the body put back on after paint. So be aware of that. That's one of the reasons that I don't like to put the windshield in right away, because then you're fighting the bow in the top of the cowl there. And I found it's just kind of better to wait, let everything settle into place, and then put the windshield in. Like I said, I think that's going to do it for this one. If you're enjoying the content here, please do the like, the share, the subscribe, comment, do all that kind of stuff. We'll see you next time. Have a great day.